You know that feeling, right? The house is finally quiet, everything's settled down, and you are just desperate for sleep. But the second your head hits that pillow, bam. It's like your brain just decides, oh, perfect time to replay every single worry.
Yeah, the highlight reel, that awkward email, the deadline tomorrow. What did that person really mean?
Exactly. And suddenly you're wide awake, buzzing with this nervous energy, and then you start worrying about not sleeping on top of everything else.
Oh, it's the worst. Like a cruel little trick your mind plays on you.
Totally. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly this really common, very tangled relationship between anxiety and sleep.
Yeah.
We've gathered a bunch of insights from, health sources, psychology stuff, wellness material to try and understand this mess.
And our goal here really is to unpack it all for you. We want to figure out why anxiety seems to spike right when you want to rest, and how that lack of sleep then turns around and just makes the anxiety feel even worse. And most importantly, what the material suggests are some, practical, evidence-based ways you can actually break out of this cycle. Find some decent rest.
Okay, let's get into that connection then, because what the material makes super clear is that anxiety and sleep problems, they're not just like slightly related, they're deeply connected.
Absolutely. That constant worry, that fear, it doesn't just make your day tough. It actively gets in the way of falling asleep and, crucially, staying asleep.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating, and it came up again and again in the sources, is that it's definitely a two-way street.
How so?
Well, okay, anxiety disrupts sleep. That's the obvious bit, right?
Yeah.
But then the sleep deprivation that results from that, it actively makes anxiety symptoms worse the next day.
Ah, okay. So it creates this negative feedback loop.
Exactly. A really tough cycle. Each problem just feeds the other one. When you're sleep deprived, your brain basically has a harder time managing stress. It's less equipped to regulate emotions effectively.
And you feel that, don't you? When you're stuck in that loop, the material points out you probably feel more nervous, maybe constantly on edge.
Yeah, maybe struggling to concentrate, irritable.
Totally. And even physical stuff too, like tense muscles, maybe your heart's racing a bit, all things that make it incredibly hard to just relax and rest.
Which brings up a really key question, right? Why? Why does anxiety seem to get so much worse at night? Just when you want peace and quiet.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Well, the material suggests a few things. One idea is that during the day, well, we're busy, right? We're distracted by work, chores, people.
Like a buffer.
Exactly, a psychological buffer. It keeps some of those deeper worries kind of pushed down. But when things quiet down at night, that buffer disappears.
And everything comes flooding in.
Pretty much. Unresolved thoughts, worries about what happened today, anxieties about tomorrow. They all get space to surface.
Okay.
Plus, there's also research mention about this mind after midnight idea. It suggests that late at night is naturally when positive feelings are lower and negative ones tend to peak.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And apparently your brain might also be less able to think logically or kind of put the brakes on negative responses during those late hours. It's like your rational thinking goes offline just as the worry engine revs up.
Okay, so that explains why it might feel worse at night. But how exactly is anxiety attacking sleep, according to the material? What are the specific ways it messes things up?
Well, the sources point to a few common culprits. The big one is just trouble falling asleep in the first place.
The racing thoughts.
Exactly. Your mind is just stuck in that loop, worrying, planning, replaying.
Right.
Makes it almost impossible to relax enough to drift off.
Right. But even if you do manage to fall asleep, it doesn't always stop there, does it?
No, definitely not. Anxiety can lead to waking up frequently during the night. So you might have really light, restless sleep, easily startled awake, or just finding yourself awake multiple times before the morning alarm. And for some people, especially if the anxiety is quite severe, it can even show up as nightmares, disturbing dreams.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that obviously ruins your sleep, but it can also make you kind of afraid to go back to sleep afterwards.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And physiologically, is something happening in the body?
Yeah. The material talks a lot about hyperarousal. Basically, anxiety keeps your body in this heightened state of stress, like you're stuck in a low-grade fight-or-flight mode.
Always on alert.
Exactly. And this mental and physical hyperarousal, that's seen as a key factor behind insomnia, especially for anxious people. The sources also mention something called high sleep reactivity.
What's that?
It just means that people with anxiety are more likely to have their sleep disrupted when they're stressed. Their system is just more easily tipped into wakefulness by stress.
Okay, so anxiety messes with sleep. But then what about the other way around? the payback from not sleeping enough sounds like that makes the anxiety worse too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It
well.
hits back hard. If we think bigger picture, sleep deprivation isn't just about feeling tired. It actually changes how your brain works, specifically in the parts that deal with fear and threats.
Really?
Well, the material explains that when you lose sleep, activity can ramp up in your amygdala. Think of the amygdala as like your brain's alarm bell for danger.
Okay.
At the same time, sleep loss can reduce the connection between that alarm bell and your prefrontal cortex.
It's the good bad.
The rational part, the part that thinks things through, regulates emotions, puts things in perspective, your sort of executive control center.
So the alarm bell is ringing really loudly.
Yeah.
But the part of the brain that usually says, okay, calm down, let's assess this, isn't properly connected.
You got it. You've got an overactive alarm system without the usual regulation. So emotions can feel way more intense, much harder to manage.
Wow.
It makes you much more vulnerable to feeling anxious, even from things that might normally seem pretty minor. The material even suggests it can make it harder to tell the difference between a real threat and something that just kind of looks like one. Your brain's pattern recognition gets a bit fuzzy.
And then on top of all that, there's the anxiety about sleep itself.
Oh yeah, the sleep anxiety loop. That's a big one. You have one bad night, maybe two.
And then you start dreading bedtime.
Exactly. You start anticipating another bad night, which creates its own anxiety. And the material points out if you spend a lot of time lying in bed, awake, worrying, frustrated.
Your bed becomes associated with stress, not rest.
Precisely. The bed, even the whole bedroom, can become linked to feeling anxious and failing at sleep, which just makes the pressure even worse.
Okay, this sounds like a really tough cycle to get caught in. So the million-dollar question, how do you break it? Is it even possible?
Well, the good news, and this comes through strongly in the material, is yes, it can be broken. Anxiety disorders themselves are treatable, obviously, but there are also really effective evidence-based strategies specifically designed to improve sleep. Many of them come from cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI.
CBTI, okay. And what does the material suggest this involves? Is it like one magic bullet or?
Definitely not a magic bullet. It's usually presented as a multi-pronged approach. CBTI is often considered the sort of gold standard non-drug treatment for chronic insomnia. And it combines behavioral changes, cognitive techniques, so changing how you think, and lifestyle adjustments.
Okay, let's break that down. What are some of those key techniques?
Okay, so one cornerstone behavioral technique is called stimulus control.
Stimulus control. Yeah.
The whole idea is to basically retrain your brain. You want it to strongly associate your bed and bedroom only with sleep and, well, sex, and weaken the link with everything else, like worrying, watching TV, working.
So how do you do that? Sounds tricky.
The instructions can feel a bit counterintuitive at first. Things like, only go to bed when you're sleepy, only use the bed for sleep and intimacy. If you're lying awake for, say, 15 or 20 minutes, or you find yourself starting to worry in bed,
Get out.
get out of bed, go to another room, do something quiet and relaxing until you feel sleepy again, and then go back to bed. Repeat as needed.
Wow, okay. The point is to stop associating the bed with being awake and frustrated.
Exactly. Break that connection.
What else is in the CBTI toolbox?
Another major one is sleep restriction therapy, or SRT.
Restriction. That sounds a bit scary, like you're deliberately not sleeping.
It sounds intense, yeah. But the idea isn't long-term deprivation. It involves intentionally limiting the time you allow yourself to spend in bed, making it closer to the amount of time you're actually sleeping.
How do you know how much you're sleeping?
Usually through keeping a sleep diary for a week or two beforehand. So say you're only actually sleeping 6 hours, even though you're in bed for 8. With SRT, you might initially restrict your time in bed to just 6 hours.
Why? What does that achieve?
The goal is to build up really strong sleep pressure, or sleep drive. So when you are in bed, you fall asleep faster, and your sleep becomes more solid, less broken.
Makes sense. More consolidated sleep.
Right. And then as your sleep efficiency, the percentage of time in bed you're actually asleep improves, you gradually, slowly increase the time you allow yourself in bed.
Okay. Does it have downsides, like being super tired?
Yeah, the sources definitely mention that. You might feel more daytime sleepiness, especially in the beginning, so it's something you need to plan for and do carefully, ideally with guidance.
Got it. So behavioral changes. What about the thinking side? The cognitive part?
Right, cognitive therapy. This tackles the unhelpful thoughts and beliefs about sleep that fuel the anxiety.
Like thinking, if I don't get 8 hours, tomorrow will be a disaster.
Exactly like that. Or, I must fall asleep within 10 minutes. These rigid beliefs create pressure. Cognitive therapy helps you identify those thoughts, challenge them, and replace them with more realistic and flexible ones.
Oh.
Techniques might involve examining the actual evidence for your catastrophic thoughts or learning to dispute those rigid rules you've set for yourself around sleep, basically restructuring those anxious thought patterns.
Okay. And you mentioned relaxation too.
Yes, relaxation techniques are often part of the package. Things like deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation where you tense and release muscle groups. Meditation. Yeah, limit screens for at least an hour before bed. Listening to quiet music, gentle stretching, whatever works for you, but doing it consistently signals to your brain, okay, it's time to power down.
What about wake-up time?
That's a big one too. A fixed wake-up time every single day. Yes, even weekends, as much as possible. It really helps anchor your body clock, your circadian rhythm.
Okay. Consistent wake-up. What else?
Getting natural light, especially in the morning, that sunlight helps set your internal clock for the day.
Food. Does that play a role?
It can. The sources suggest avoiding heavy, spicy, or super sugary meals late at night. If you're hungry, maybe a light, healthy snack is okay.
Like what?
They mentioned things like maybe some light cheese and crackers, a bit of turkey, banana, almonds, walnuts, foods that contain things like tryptophan or magnesium. Also, certain teas like chamomile or passion flower are often suggested. Warm milk is a classic for a reason, too. Just keep it light.
Good to know. And exercise.
Regular physical activity is great for sleep. Aim for, maybe 30 minutes most days. Late afternoon or early evening exercise seems particularly helpful for some. Just avoid really intense workouts too close to bedtime, as that can be stimulating.
Okay, lots of good foundational stuff there. What about tips specifically for when that anxiety hits at night, when you're lying there and the thoughts start racing?
Yeah, the material offers some specific tactics for that moment.
Like what?
One idea is creating a buffer zone. Don't go straight from, say, working or dealing with stressful stuff right into bed. Give yourself maybe 30, 60 minutes beforehand to consciously decompress.
Lying down time.
Yeah, do something actively relaxing, something that helps you shift gears from doing and worrying to resting.
Like that, buffer zone.
Another really popular one is the mental dump list or worry journal. Keep a notebook by your bed. When those racing thoughts, to-dos, or worries pop up, just jot them down. Get them out of your head and onto paper.
Does that actually help?
The idea is it tells your brain, okay, I've captured this. I don't need to keep cycling through it right now. I can deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
It helps you let go, potentially.
Okay, worth a try. What else?
A huge one. Don't watch the clock.
Oh, I'm guilty of that.
So many people are. But checking the time just increases anxiety about how long you've been awake, how little sleep you're getting.
Right.
It fuels the fire. So cover your clock, turn it away, get it out of sight.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And related to that, and this is maybe the hardest one, don't try to force sleep.
Easier said than done.
Totally. But sleep is one of those things, the harder you try, the more it runs away. Trying hard activates your stress response, making you more alert. The key is letting go of the struggle. Accept that you're awake right now.
How do you do that?
Well, one counterintuitive trick mentioned is to almost pretend you don't care if you fall asleep or not. Yeah, remove the pressure. Tell yourself, it's okay, I'm resting my body. Sleep will come when it comes. It doesn't matter if it's right now. Taking that performance pressure off can, paradoxically, sometimes allow sleep to happen.
Huh. Interesting mental trick.
The material also sometimes mentions magnesium. It's a mineral involved in relaxation and nervous system function.
How do you get that? Food. Supplements.
Both. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains have it. Supplements are an option, but definitely check with a doctor first. Epsom salt baths are another way, as the magnesium can be absorbed through the skin.
Okay. And mindfulness. We hear a lot about that.
Yeah, mindfulness practice is often recommended. Not necessarily as a magic make me sleep now button, but as a daily practice to build your skill at noticing anxious thoughts without getting swept away by them.
Like observing them.
Exactly, just observing them come and go. Body scan meditations can be really helpful for bringing awareness into the body and away from racing thoughts. Again, probably best practiced outside of bed initially if you're struggling. And the sources caution against just relying on sleep apps as a quick fix. The skill building is key.
Okay, those are a lot of really practical strategies. But what if someone tries these things, maybe for a while, and they're still really struggling? The anxiety, the sleep problems, they're just not budging much. When should you seek professional help?
That's a crucial point. And the sources are very clear. If anxiety or sleep issues are persistent, they're significantly impacting your daily life, your mood, your ability to function. It's really important to talk to a doctor or a mental health professional.
Don't just keep struggling alone.
Absolutely not. They can help figure out exactly what's going on, rule out any other potential medical causes, and discuss proper treatment options.
Is there like a rule of thumb for when it's bad enough to seek help?
One source offered a helpful guideline. They called it the 30-33 rule. It's basically, does it consistently take you 30 minutes or more to fall asleep?
Okay.
Are you awake for 30 minutes or more during the middle of the night?
Right.
And are these things happening at least 3 nights a week? And have they been going on for a while, like a few weeks or more?
Ah, okay. 30 minutes to fall asleep, 30 minutes awake at night, 3 times a week?
Yeah. If you're hitting those marks pretty consistently, that's a strong sign you might be dealing with clinical insomnia, and it's definitely worth talking to a professional about it.
And that professional help can tackle both sides of the problem, right? The anxiety and the sleep.
Exactly. A mental health professional can provide therapy, like general CBT, to manage the anxiety itself, which often has knock-on benefits for sleep.
Makes sense.
And then there's CBTI, which we talked about, specifically designed for insomnia. The material really highlights its effectiveness, especially for long-term improvement, often comparing it favorably to sleep medications. Well, meds can sometimes have side effects, issues with tolerance or dependence, and they often don't address the underlying behavioral and cognitive factors. CBTI aims to equip you with skills for life. Meds might be useful short-term sometimes, but CBTI is often positioned as the preferred long-term strategy.
Okay, that's really helpful context. So wrapping this all up,
Wow.
we've really seen how deeply anxiety and sleeplessness are linked. It's this tough cycle fueled by those racing thoughts at night
Yeah.
and how our brains react to stress and lack of rest.
It really is a powerful cycle. But I think the key takeaway, the really empowering message from all this material we've looked at, is that you are absolutely not powerless against it. By understanding what's actually happening, why your brain gets stuck in worry mode at night, how sleep loss makes you more vulnerable, and then by using these targeted strategies.
Like the relaxation, the environment changes, the CBTI techniques.
Exactly. All those things, plus seeking professional support when you need it, you can actively work to dismantle that cycle. It definitely takes patience, it takes consistency, it's not an overnight fix.
Right.
But better rest and less worry. They are genuinely achievable goals.
That's a hopeful note to end on. So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about from this deep dive. What's maybe one small step, just one thing from everything we talked about that you could perhaps try tonight? Something to just gently interrupt that cycle.
Yeah, maybe it's just deciding you'll put a notebook by the bed for those worries. Or maybe committing to 15 minutes of quiet reading before you even get into bed.
Or just making that pact with yourself not to look at the clock if you wake up. Even a small step can start to make a difference.